Let's go! Today's spring practice breakdown, we are actually going to focus on a concept. Comment down below, would you like to see LSU run more jet sweep motion type of plays? Okay, so we're going to do a deep breakdown on why I think this is going to be a play that you'll see more of from the 2023 LSU Tigers. And on top of all of that, will it actually be something that is successful next year for LSU? And I want you to remember that word, success. Okay, so you see them practicing it in the background. Obviously, this is Cortez Hankton, who is working with the wide receivers. And, of course, you see Joe Sloan back there as well. But the man that we want to focus on to start off today's video is, well, the guy that actually calls the shots. That, of course, is Mike Denbrock. So I know this gets cut off here by Malik Nabers. He will be very involved in today's study. But as you'll see right here, this is Ricky Collins working on jet sweep motion, pitching this off to Chris Hilton. And I believe, I don't have the audio playing, I think Cortez Hankton was asking for a little more juice.
In particular, passing game-wise, just it's so critical that everybody understands, where their airspace is in what we're trying to do, so that it puts the multitude of stresses on the defense as we possibly can, so that we can get people in space and get them the football in their hands. And then there's been kind of an emphasis, at least from our part in the passing game, to get more catch and run balls, if you will. So running a little bit more scheme-wise, where we can get the ball in our skill guys' hands with their ability to turn upfield instead of have their back to the goal line, catch the ball and be able to kind of burst into open space. That hopefully, if we understand spacing, we can help create.
Boom! I'm looking at you. Yes, you. And that was Mike Denbrock talking about getting better at drawing up plays for their playmakers that gets them the football quickly to where they are running towards the goal line, not necessarily with their back turned to the line of scrimmage, right? So, just for a blast from the past, in the background, you see LSU 10 years ago working on jet sweep motion, okay? That was Zach Mettenberger right here, but that was actually Anthony Jennings with Traven DeRaw working on jet sweep handoffs, okay? But we're talking about jet sweep passes, which is something that Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, and Tyreek Hill made very popular. And in a second, we'll show you another legendary quarterback running this very simple play. But just to show you, jet sweep motion isn't anything new. This isn't anything revolutionary. But if you listen really closely to Mike Denbrock, we have heard Denbrock and Brian Kelly say that Jayden Daniels is working really hard at becoming a better vertical passer. I think anybody would agree that, yes, LSU's vertical passing must get better, but one simple truth is you can still generate explosive plays without throwing the football down the field, which is why Denbrock shared that very interesting anecdote. They're working on plays such as this one where they can get the football in their playmakers' hands, getting downfield, and getting into space quickly. Now, I wish we had an Odell Beckham still on our roster, but guess what? We do with Malik Nabers. So we're going to focus on him today. And look, I want you guys to come into this with an open mind, and I want to ask you a question before we continue. We all know Jayden had some struggles last year as a passer. In all the SEC, quarterbacks with 50 or more pass attempts, I want you right now to guess, where did Jayden Daniels rank when it comes to success rate, okay? And I want you to give it your absolute best guess, okay? Now, before I actually reveal that answer, I want to shout out each and every one of you for helping making PHL one of the best channels on the freaking planet. That's why I recommend you come hang out with us on live streams. Come hang out in our Patreon. There's so many different ways you can help support the channel, okay? So, the answer, and as you can see with And that wasn't jet motion. That was just a little bit of a zone read handoff drill right there. But those side-to-side motions could keep defenses off balance. But still, the answer to that question is actually Jayden Daniels was ranked third. Yes, when it comes to success rate, Jayden Daniels was the third best passer in all the SEC. But there is a major asterisk. Number one, those numbers, I believe, were not Power 5 adjusted. Remember, LSU had 3 relatively easy non-Power 5, non-conference games. But the second thing is, while the down-to-down, play-to-play efficiency for LSU was really good in terms of success rate, both run and pass, the issue was Jayden Daniels passing when it comes to explosive plays. You are looking at a chart right here showing that Jayden's explosive passing wasn't nearly as good as his success rate. In fact, he was amongst the SEC's worst when it comes to explosive passing plays, which is why everything that we have talked about up to this point is going to lead to the jet sweep pass. So as many of you know, I'm a big Jayden fan. I think he doesn't need to be the second coming of Aaron Rodgers, but the vertical game does need to get better. Right here, Malik does get over the top of this DB, and we could have fit this football in right here for a walk-in touchdown. If you don't want to throw it and you feel the safety coming over the top, we go to this next slide. Could have stepped up in the pocket and hit, I believe this is Kayshawn in the slot running wide open. Ultimately, though, Jayden did cut to the outside and have an explosive run off of this, but still, the vertical passing just wasn't there last year for LSU. Now, if you want to see more vertical shots that Jayden did hit or didn't hit, you could check out all of our film studies we have done on Jayden, and we have done quite a bit, including sometimes his inability to hit big passes over the middle. But he did hit that big shot to Kayshawn on a dig, kind of sort of over the middle, and it did allow Kayshawn to run after the catch. So it was about, a 12-yard dig or whatever, and it led Kayshawn to making some good yak. And I want to show you this chart right here from a guy by the name of Parker at Stats War. He does a really good job of college football analytics. So a lot of people have compared Jayden Daniels to Stetson Bennett, pointing out that Stetson Bennett had a huge leap in year 5, his second year as a full-time starter at Georgia. And some people are expecting LSU's Jayden Daniels to take an even bigger leap than what he had last year, where he was really solid. Now, the reason why this chart is very important is because it helps categorize success rate based on what receivers did after the catch. And as you can see, when it comes to success rate percentage, Stetson Bennett had one of the best after the catch success rates in all of college football. Now, some of that is on Stetson, but a lot of that is on play design, right? Todd Monken, probably my favorite SEC offensive coordinator. Now he's with the Ravens. And I think that's what Mike Denbrock was referencing, right? As you can see, Stetson Bennett, yes, he hit some deep shots. Yes, he was overall very accurate, but he did a really good job of running the offense, and the offense did a really good job of finding pockets of space where the throws would lead the receiver into making big-time explosive plays. And that was no better evident in the game versus us, where constantly Georgia hit quick screens to the outside that generated explosive first downs for their offense. And that is not some awesome quarterbacking. Now, Stetson made some breathtaking throws in that game, but the truth is, a lot of it, I would say about half of them, were just simple screens. And LSU wants to do a better job of that, to where it is not totally on Jayden to become an infinitely better vertical thrower. LSU needs to do a better job of getting run after the catch type of plays, to where it is more simple for LSU to generate explosive passing plays on offense. So the way I can interpret what Mike Denbrock said earlier is, yes, we need to get better at throwing the football vertically down the field, but it is even easier to throw an intermediate throw or a throw behind the line of scrimmage that is unimpeded, that we can actually do something after the catch, and that is a different way of actually generating explosive pass plays. So let's hit the tape. Let's go. So in the background, you are seeing the second greatest quarterback of all time run this little jet sweep quick pass, right? And the best thing about it is it pads your freaking stats. This technically counts as a throw. And as you can see, the Patriots time it absolutely perfect. Everything is sealed off and blocked to the outside, and it is essentially a walk-in touchdown. So as you can see, you don't need spectacular quarterback play to run this play. And something else I like is that it is effective at pretty much any part of the field, right? It is a good play in the red zone because the field compresses, right? And it's harder to throw in the back of the end zone with all the traffic. It's also a turnover-free type of play. If the running back drops it, or the catcher, if you will, drops it, it is just an incompletion. And, of course, it is a quick play, so you don't need great pass protection. In fact, you don't even need excellent blocking. So now let's break down one example of LSU running this last year. Now, once again, this was Purdue JV team. They're down 42, but this is what was really interesting about this Malik Nabers house call. Once again, Garrett played well, but it doesn't take anything spectacular to run this. The second thing that I found very interesting is this wasn't the most poorly defended play. This was a really good job by their edge player to not let Malik get the edge, and he did a decent job squeezing this down to Mason Taylor, but we allowed these guys to over-penetrate upfield, and the crucial block right here was by Will Campbell, okay? He was able to clear that out, but once again, this only took really one spectacular block for this play to work, right? And it was Will Campbell right here washing down this linebacker out of the play, and it took a spectacular cut right here by Malik Nabers to get through all this traffic. Good job by Deli holding on to this block, but then, once again, we got some good blocking downfield from Kyron Lacey. Did a full live stream, and make sure you check out the PHL podcast on iTunes. Did a whole episode on Kyron recently, but you see, it didn't take anything truly spectacular. Now, once again, the level of competition here isn't the absolute best. They're down 42-0. They're ready to go back to the Cheez-Its Hotel. Did number 7 catch the Holy Spirit right here? Look at this. This shake right here by Malik was so bad. 7. Oh, you're a single-digit number. What happened, bro? But, yeah, you see, get the football in Malik Nabers' hands. Easy completion. No way you can commit a turnover there at all, because if you drop it, once again, is an incomplete pass instead of a fumble. All it takes is just something very simple, such as that. So, what about when it fails, right? Well, this is what's really interesting. LSU, that was the last game of the season. Let's go all the way to the first game of the year. Now, as many of you know, it took a while for us to score a touchdown in this game. I want you to take a look at us running a very similar play, but this time it is to the right, and Jayden doesn't decide to pitch it because of a high snap, but he does. Once again, his Florida State game was nothing short of incredible. The runs in this game are as good as any game you'll see from a college QB, especially with how poor the offensive line play was in this game. I want you to see right here. Let's just say this snap was really good. And once again, Garrett Dellinger is not a center, right? They tried it. He had a bad snap in the red zone in the first half, and now in the first quarter, and now the extended red zone. This high snap right here, okay? Once again, Jayden did not feel comfortable throwing this ball to Malik. I totally get it. So he decides to not hand this or pitch it. He decides to keep it. but I want you to see, let's just say Malik decided to keep this football. All right, we're going to rewind it slowly again. This LSU offensive line struggled all game long. Their defensive line whipped us, and there are 3 non-starters out there for LSU. Now, I say non-starters. They started the game, but in week 3, they were substituted, and all 3 of them were the center, right guard, and right tackle. Now, notice, it doesn't take a spectacular line for this play to work, okay? They were able to penetrate through our right guard and right tackle. The right tackle did a good job sealing this off to the outside, but the key block right here was by Mason Taylor. You see Jared Verse, their superstar defensive end, we had him sealed to the inside, and then you would have seen right here Josh Williams would have had Jamie Robinson sealed to the inside. Kayshawn gets a pretty decent block on this corner. He's on his heels. If this would have been a good pitch, this would have been Malik Nabers running downfield, and he would have been one-on-one versus a safety for a touchdown. So the only thing that blew this play up was a poor snap. So I did see some other footage where LSU was working on this play. In fact, we have a spring practice breakdown. I don't remember exactly which one, where we did a breakdown of them working on the jet sweep motion. So, look, I'm not asking LSU to run this play nonstop, but it is one of many ways that I think LSU is going to try to generate some explosiveness without asking its QBs to chunk the football down the field. Now, I cannot say this enough. LSU does need to get better with the vertical passing game, especially with Jayden Daniels at QB. But overall, there's many different ways to generate explosiveness, right? So, yes, I think LSU is going to run this play more often. Now, comment down below if you expect to see LSU do this more often. There's plenty of ways to do it. You can do a jet sweep return motion, which is what LSU is electing to do here with Jayden Daniels. So, yeah, let me know. I would love your thoughts on this play design, or if you have any other play design ideas that you think could do what Mike Denbrock brought up earlier in the stream. Let's get some intermediate throws where LSU is getting the football in their playmakers' hands while they are running downhill. Now, like we brought up, slants are a good way to do it, but our slant game wasn't the absolute best last year, which was shown by that Tennessee clip earlier. We also had an earlier in-breaking route intermediate ball to Mason Taylor that was somewhat of a drop, somewhat of a miss by Jayden, kind of like that Tennessee play. So, yeah, I mean, the one thing I like about this, it's safe and effective, and it gives something for the defense to worry about, especially if we're a team that likes to do a lot of these pre-snap motions. So, comment down below, and I would love your thoughts on this. Now, I actually cut a lot out of this. It took a long time to put this together. So, if you would like more of this, make sure you go check out the Patreon, because we got all different types of film studies down below. It is Power Hour LSU. Bam! And tonight, it's barbecue chicken night 2 with some asparagus. Let's freaking go, baby. Let's do this, JD5. Let's go.